Hi everybody, Brian from Bear Traders here. Yes, it is the weekend again, January 20th. And this, of course, the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week in the market. And then more importantly, we'll look ahead and see what we got coming up this week and some of the stocks that we'll be watching. So let's get down to it. All right, and as we always do, let's start out by taking a quick look at what happened last week in the market, shortened trading week. Last week's price action was pretty good for the bulls, obviously. Tech sector and specifically the AI space. I mean, they continue to buoy the markets. Companies involved with AI. Positive consumer sentiment numbers that came out on Friday just added fuel to the fire here, showing the consumer is feeling good, and a really good number that came out on Friday, so pushed the markets up and away. S&P setting an all-time high. Tech was strong, of course, all week, but the small caps are still lagging here. You can see they were only up 0.4%, and they were flat last week. So IWM still struggling, and it was actually the strong, or at least the large caps techs that really did well. If you look at equal weighted S&P, it actually didn't put in a gain for the week, so it's not a broad rally like it looks like. It looks a little bit better than it really is here, and we're looking for more stocks to participate, hopefully. So technology and communication, again, biggest gainers on the week, pretty much same as last week. The utilities, which is kind of the safety trade, biggest loser. We had the treasuries. Despite the fact the market was up, the treasuries were up as well, sort of counterintuitive to what we've been seeing. Both the 10-year and the 2-year were up. So some of the expectations for early rate hikes are kind of getting squashed here, and a March rate hike is looking less and less likely. US dollar, of course, was up because the treasury yields were up. That's not surprising. And Bitcoin was down just a little bit last time I checked. So that was your week in review. And before we get going and looking at some charts, as always, like to do a quick plug for my books on Amazon. There's the How to Swing Trade book, Beginner's Guide to Trading Tools, Money Management, Rules, Strategies, and the Routines that I use as a swing trader. And my latest book, which is How to Trade Options. If you're interested in options, this is A to Z book, Complete Guide to Trading Options, Trading Strategies, and Risk Management. Be sure to check one or both of those out if you're interested. And let's get down to looking at some charts. And as always, we like to start out by looking at the treasuries, because there seem to be the tail that's wagging the dog here. But anyway, yields, you can see, are starting to creep back up here. Kind of interesting. We've got a double bottom here on the RSI. Our MACD is starting to turn. Same with the stochastics. So we are trying to turn back up here. The economy is pretty good. I think the chances of a rate cuts early in the year are kind of fading, and now they're talking about the Fed heads are talking about maybe later in the year. But certainly there's still a pretty strong bet on that a May rate decrease is coming. But March is starting to fade off the charts here. If you look at the CME tool, FedWatch tool. And if we get into the 10-year, again, we're kind of turning. We've broken this downtrend here. We're kind of trending back up again, which is maybe a little bit of a concern here if we start to get moving up through this 430 level. It's certainly something that markets are going to watch and possibly respond to. But you can see all the indicators are starting to tick back up there as the economy seems to be doing just fine despite all the headwinds that we're seem to be seeing, geopolitical and all the rest of that. Challenges in Washington getting the budgets through and that kind of thing. Nobody seems to be too worried about that yet, but we'll see what happens. Transports, again, sort of something that I like to watch, because that's sort of a sign of how the economy is doing, sort of ticking back up here. We do have some rails reporting this week, I believe, CSX. And you can see here on a weekly, we had a nice bounce off this moving average. And again, we could be just range bound here, but transport's holding up nicely. The Dow, nice breakout here on Friday. That strong consumer sentiment number pushed the markets higher. And again, weekly, we are breaking out here. Amazing move again, just when you thought we were topping out here. The volume wasn't stellar, like you like to see big volume bars like this. on a weekly. But on the other hand, this was a shortened trading week, so you can't read too much into that volume number. And here's the cues. I mean, clean breakout here, big gap up on the morning, and on volume on Friday as well here. So the tech stocks and specifically AI is really pushing the optimism, the market higher here. And there's the weekly. We're breaking out the SPY again, all-time high here, breaking out on good volume on Friday. That's kind of what you want to see on a breakout, is volume. And there we are. We're going higher, and we're pretty overbought on the stochastics, but RSI almost into overbought territory. Doesn't mean we can't stay there for a long time. IWM, it's just really struggling here. Most of the indexes, the other three indexes, all kind of came back up, retested their highs, and started to break out. IWM just really, the small caps kind of struggling here still. And we're kind of into an area where there's probably some resistance. You can see here there's a gap possibly to refill. And but this could be an area here where we could see some maybe move into and see some resistance. This moving average rolling over. Momentum indicators are kind of flatlining. I mean, we are putting in a couple bottoms here on stochastics, but I'm skeptical that we're going to get above this one sort of 97 level. Certainly a level to watch. If we do punch above that, that'll be an indicator that the IWM is finally starting to catch up here. VIX, the fear index, you can see no fear in the market whatsoever. The dollar had a nice move up, and of course it tends to move with yield. So when yields start to move up, so does the dollar quite often. But we are into an area that's been prior support here, then we broke down, now it's become resistance here, and now we're back up to resistance again. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes, if we kind of roll over here again, or if we can actually break through this sort of 27, 80, 28 area. Certainly if yields keep going up, I suspect the dollar will continue to rally as well. Here's your Bitcoin, 41,667 right now. So a little bit of a drop there on Saturday, and then or Friday and Saturday. So Bitcoin again kind of consolidating after the news on the ETFs, sort of buy the rumor, sell the news, typical. So that's the way the markets are looking right now. So for stocks we got on watch, let's start out with Apple. Apple was amazing. This was the one I mentioned last week. I said watch this 200-day moving average. I think it was going to be, I strongly thought it was going to be support, and it was exactly. And then it got some upgrades on top of that, and we moved right back into a trading range here. So early in the week, I did sell some puts down here, and on Friday covered them. But that was, again, that was just right in the trading plan. If you watch my video from last week, watching for this, double bottom, 200-day moving average, just set up too perfectly not to trade that. Affirm, I don't know. It rallied a bit. I've got some longer dated puts on this one. I think out into August. I still think this is going to roll over here. I'm watching for a fail of 40. The strong consumer sentiment didn't really help, but the delinquency rates are going up on a lot of these credit cards and stuff. So it will be interesting to hear what Amex says on Friday. AMD, talk about the AI trade. AMD sort of talking about their AI chips, and this thing has just been on fire. Traded this one a couple of times on during the week. Day traded some options on Friday, and man, it just tore. Look at the volume on this thing too. I don't know, where it could possibly go next. I think we're sort of in uncharted territory here if we look at the weekly. We're way above any weekly levels that go back. And let's look at the monthly here. It looks like we've also broken out here from a high that's about 165. 160, 160, 164. So this was a breakout here. Amazing trade. So AMD, just continues to perform really well. Boeing, I've got a trade on Boeing, mentioned this numerous times in the room. I thought this was a nice opportunity for a bottom here. So right now I've got some longer dated calls. I did what they call a vertical spread. If you want to check it out, that's in my book. I write about this. I bought the 240s and I sold the 260s calls that were above it. So it's a bit of a it's a play to play this bounce here. And I kind of said my last video from last week, I was watching this for an opportunity to get long, because I just felt like we filled this gap here. It was a really nice entry, and now I'm long through calls. But my profit is capped because I sold some 260 calls above it to reduce the cost of my trade. Again, you can check that out in my book if you're not sure what I'm talking about here. Google, and here's another one that having a nice breakout. I'm long this in some other accounts, and it's again AI trade going long. Meta was another one I mentioned last week, breaking out here as well. Another AI trade, really extended, but I think it can keep going higher. TLT is a trade I've got on, as you've been watching my recaps. I've got the 102 calls that I shorted, and they're going to expire this week. And I've also got some, I believe they're 85 or 86 puts that I shorted. So we're right in the middle of this range here. And both of those options are going to expire at the end of this week, and I'll probably they're already trading at a penny, so I've already seen most of the gains on both of those. So nice trade there. Tesla's really struggling here. I mean, EV sales challenging, and for Tesla, price cuttings, competition. As Tesla has really been selling off here, looking like it might find some support in this level, in and around this level, but we could be coming if we start breaking down again, man. 200 and below is looking more and more likely. We're pretty oversold here, but doesn't mean we can't go lower. So just be careful with Tesla if you're thinking about getting it long. I don't see. So it's certainly not showing any signs of bouncing back yet. We're still established downtrend. So that's it. That's, I think, all I'm looking at. It's just all these tech stocks that are just outperforming everything else. So just stick with those until they stop working. Okay, so let's wrap things up here. What do we got to look ahead for January 22nd? Full trading week. We're in the middle of earnings season. So there's your levels on the Dow, QQ, SPY, and IWM. As I said earlier, SPY at an all-time high, and hard to find resistance levels when you're breaking into all-time highs there, but Q is very close to an all-time high as well. And market's still looking good. Here's your economic events for the week. We do have this PCE price index number that comes out on Friday. This is the Fed's favored inflation watch tool, and so we'll be watching to see. Everybody will be watching to see what that number comes out at on Friday, kind of give you an idea of where inflation is continuing to move here. And as far as earnings, we do have a bit of earnings that are going to be kind of interesting. Netflix after the close on Tuesday, that'll be interesting. Of course, Tesla, which has been struggling lately, it's on Wednesday after the close. Las Vegas Sands, and then we've got Intel, which has had a really good run on Thursday after the close. So lots of stuff to look forward to this week, including our pre-market show every morning, 8 o'clock. We kick things off, and then, of course, trading them open with our members at 9:30. So hope to see you live on YouTube early in the morning, or maybe if you're a member joining us, that'll be great. We'll see you at the open. Take care, everybody, and have a great rest of the weekend. And we'll see you Monday morning.